Finding our way down south, we end up in Charleston, South Carolina, taking a look at their own struggling mall, the Citadel Mall. Today, the mall holds its own as a film set and a mixed-use center. Let's step inside and get a closer look. We have a lot of ground to cover in the history books, so let's get started right away. Citadel Mall was the project of Jacobs, Visconsi, and Jacobs, and the mall would open its doors for the first time in 1981, situated at the intersection of the Savannah Highway and the Sam Rittenberg Boulevard. Upon opening, the mall would host Sears, Belk, and Thalhimer's as original anchors. At first, the mall wouldn't see too much happening in its life as it serviced the communities around it. In 1992, Thalhimer's would be converted to Hecht's, but would sell its store at the mall to Dillard's, signaling the first of many major changes to the mall. Dillard's would opt to build a bigger store at the mall in 1994 and would sell off its old building to J.C. Penney, whom would remain open at the Citadel Mall until 2001. Target would buy the property this building sat on and would demolish the old building in favor of their own. Belk would also relocate its store to a larger building close to Dillard's, and the old pad would be sold to Parisian in 2000. Fast forward to 2006, and Belk would acquire the Parisian chain, which would lead to the closure of Parisian at the Citadel Mall, as Belk decided not to operate a dual anchor setup. Instead, the anchor pad would be sold to J.C. Penney, who would come back to the mall in 2007. Man, that's quite a bit of musical chairs. Also among the 2000s, Jacobs, Visconsi, and Jacobs, now known as the Richard E. Jacobs Group, would have renovated the food court and give the mall an interior a cosmetic overhaul to update the mall's image and bring it to what we see today. Unfortunately, as they fell on economic hardship, they would divest much of their mall portfolio, Citadel included. CBL and Associates would acquire the mall and continue operations, adding on a Dick's Sporting Goods as an outparcel nearby the mall's freestanding movie theater, an AMC Cinemas. This is where the trouble period began for the mall. In 2008, AMC Theaters would close its location at the mall, and tenants were beginning to trickle away from the mall. In 2013, Citadel Mall would be foreclosed upon by the U.S. National Bank Association, and the mall would enter receivership. Spinoso Real Estate Group would come to take over operations during this process. Spinoso actually managed to keep the Citadel Mall on its heels and prevent further damage to the mall's health. So, remember how I said this mall was used as a film set? Well, this is where things get real interesting. In February 2017, the mall would be purchased for $17 million by TMP SRE1 LLC. This company would be led by Richard C. Davis, who is best known for A&E's Flip the House TV show. The new owners would announce an ambitious plan to adjust the tenant roster for the community, while attracting new entertainment and mixed-use elements to the mall, including a major sports facility. While the owners got to work, Jones Lang LaSalle would be hired on to handle management of the mall. March 2017 would see JCPenney announce closure of its Citadel Mall location, along with 137 other stores in the chain. This space would be taken over by the mall's new owners for $5.2 million, and a 20-year lease for it would be signed on by the Medical University of South Carolina. Meanwhile, Sears would announce closure in May 2018 along with 41 other stores in the chain. Shortly after this announcement, the owners would acquire that property for $7.55 million and would kick their revitalization plan into high gear with plans to rename the Citadel Mall into the Epic Center. Meanwhile, HBO would lease out the Sears space to conduct filming for their TV show The Righteous Gemstones. See, there is a film set here. "2020 has failed to sink this mall, much to the chagrin of the cynical in this hobby. And so far, it seems that there is a future planned for this mall. Whatever may happen next, I wish Richard Davis and his admittedly clunky named company the best of luck in this mall's future. And I do hope to see something amazing come out of it." I was always warned of this mall being knocked down or being renovated into something completely unrecognizable, and I am just happy that I at least got to see it before it happened. And I actually kind of like the way this mall looks. It's got a nice vibe to it, and I think it's aged pretty well. And on top of that, while it probably looked much more bombastic in the earlier days, it still has a fair number of touches to it that make it look interesting. And on top of that, the ceiling in particular has always been a staple of Jacobs malls, with plenty of skylights and geometry to brighten up the mall interior. It's also good to see that the current owners have plenty of outside-the-box plans to keep this mall going, from that film set I mentioned earlier to the health university we just saw now. It's interesting to see that the original version of the mall is realized as the focus shifts away from pure retail to a little bit of everything, really. It's refreshing to see this, compared to other malls which slip into a derelict used as a tax write-off, or something that the owners would just leave to rot because they can't get their way with the city. I haven't much in the way of story time for this mall. It was about as standard a visit as it gets. I did a little bit of shopping for essentials in Target, and had a pretzel at the Pretzel Twister, which is god-tier pretzels, by the way. Auntie Annie's is cringe. But overall, nothing happened that was of particular interest for this visit. Nonetheless, that is the story of the Citadel Mall, and it seems there's still another chapter left in it. But that's enough from me. What did you think of this mall? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do share your own insight down below in the comments. We are winding down and nearing the end of this video, and if you enjoyed it, do subscribe if you haven't already. We still have so much more to see, and not enough time to reach it. Thank you for having me, Charleston. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Citadel Mall farewell and good luck in this mad, mad, mad world.